Welcome back, folks. I'm Frizz, and today I'd like to take some time to talk about saving throws. I know people are looking forward to content on the Dark Archive, but I don't actually have my PDF as of making this video, so that's gonna have to wait for a bit. Regardless, saving throws are vitally important in keeping every character alive, and knowing what they all do and which ones are the most important can help keep characters alive. So let's just get into it. Alright, so every saving throw has some basic information that's tied to it. They're each tied to a particular ability score. So Reflex is tied to Dexterity, Fortitude is tied to Constitution, and Will is tied to Wisdom. For that reason alone, these ability scores are generally very good to make sure that you have an alright score for, because no matter what your class or role in the party is, you're going to be making all of these saving throws constantly throughout a campaign. That doesn't mean that you need to keep all of these ability scores as high as possible, but it's important to just keep that in mind whenever you get your ability score boosts. The other important basic element about saving throws is proficiency. Every class has a different level of proficiency with their saving throws, and they get certain abilities that make them truly excel. For example, a level 7 rogue whenever they get a success on a reflex save, they increase that to a critical success. So God help you if you ever want to cast a spell on a rogue that requires a reflex save. It gets even more done at level 13 when they get legendary proficiency. Pretty much every class has one or maybe two saving throws that they are going to be especially good at. What class you have is going to really impact how good you are at your saving throws, but let's actually talk about the saving throws, why don't we? First up is reflex saves. How good your reflex save is depends, or really represents how good you are at dodging, and is used for stuff like fireballs and giving your balance whenever someone tries to make you faceplant. Generally speaking, I feel like reflex saves are the least vital saving throw because the vast majority of effects that require a reflex save just involve damage. Yeah, it sucks if you critically fail on a save versus a dragon's breath weapon, but at the end of the day, that is just damage, and generally healing from hit point damage is one of the easiest things to heal from in the entire game. There is a bit of a caveat to that point though, which is that reflex saves are also the most common type of save that you're going to be making. To me at least, it feels like I roll reflex saves more than fortitude and will saves combined. So if your reflex save is amazing, like if you're a rogue or a swashbuckler or something, then you're going to have plenty of chances to show off how good that saving throw is, even if each individual one isn't really game-changing. Fortitude saves change that up though. If you're trying to resist a poison, a disease, or something affecting your body like being petrified, you have to make a fortitude save. Like reflex saves, sometimes you're just going to be making fortitude saves to resist pure damage, but whenever you're rolling a fortitude save, it's more likely that you're going to be going up against some kind of condition. Diseases are pretty awful in 2e and what they can do to you, so being able to resist them is really great. If you don't have a divine caster who can just straight up remove it, then having to be crippled for the entire duration of that disease until it goes away is really bad. And similarly enough, if you fail a fortitude save and get drained, then it is going to take you multiple in-game days to recover from. Effectively, if you have a bad fortitude save, you could be in a situation where if there is time crunch in your game and you can't just say, would like to rest for 4 days, then you could be really debilitated for a long period of time. Of course, the worst case scenario for fortitude saves are actually super simple. Death. Sometimes you just die if you critically fail on a fortitude save. And while that is really rough, that's just how it goes sometimes. Sometimes your heart just stops. Finally, will saves are probably the least common that you're going to be running into, but are also the most important. Your will save is your ability to resist anything that affects your mind, whether that be something like mind control or a full-on curse that is going to mess with you for a long time. The reason why I say that will saves are the most important thing is honestly super simple. Critically failing a Fortitude save might kill your character, but critically failing a will save and then subsequently stabbing your friend to death is probably worse and is definitely going to make you feel a lot worse. If you like giving an iron grip on your PC's agency and their mind, will saves are incredibly important. Now, while I do keep on talking about how will saves are the most important to succeed on and reflex saves are the least important, the difference between all the different saving throws is much lower than in the other main system that I've played, which is Pathfinder 1e. In 2e, the entire party's bonuses on saves are going to be much closer together, which means you're going to have a lot less silly situations where, like, a rogue has a +6 will save while the cleric has a +22 will save. 2e just isn't built like that, and that means that generally speaking, you're not going to be running into as many effects where the rogue is almost guaranteed to fail if a spell is cast on them, while the cleric is almost guaranteed to succeed. This helps a lot with balance and just makes it feel a lot better if you don't have an amazing will save. The other complete game changer in making saving throws a lot more fair is the incapacitation trait. Now, due to the incapacitation trait, you don't have to worry about a spellcaster casting a second level spell and taking your rogue or your fighter or your monk out of the fight completely just because they had one bad save, but the enemy correct guessingly and cast a good spell on them. It's a lot more balanced, and it feels pretty good to not have to worry about second level spells when you're level 16. To close things out today, I'd like to give a bit of an example to explain exactly mechanically what I've been talking about. So, Prismatic Spray it's a really fun spell that has 7 different effects that you might be targeted by. You roll a d8 and get 2 effects if you rolled an 8. But we're not talking about that. 3 of these effects require you to make reflex saves, and they just do simple damage. One does fire, one does cold, one does electricity. In general, those aren't that bad. 2 of the effects of Prismatic Spray require Fortitude saves. One turns you into stone, and the other one poisons you and gives you the enfeebled condition. Again, Fortitude saves giving slightly more permanent debuffs than just pure damage. The final 2 beams require will saves, and they are substantially worse than all of the other options. The first beam has the potential to make you permanently confused, although that one does have the incapacitation trait. The other one has a chance of slowing you for the entire combat, and if you critically fail, you're shunted to a random dimension, just a random different plane somewhere out there in the world. The rest of the party has no idea where you are, in all likelihood, you don't know how to get back, meaning you're out of the campaign. And the worst part is, this effect doesn't have incapacitation. Yeah, it's a silly spell, and boy is it fun. So this kind of shows off that reflex saves are super basic, it's just basic against damage, whereas Fortitude saves are a bit more debilitating, while will saves can really fuck your shit up. Now, while the differences between saves are a lot less extreme than they were in previous editions, trust me, I know that seems silly based on what I just told you, but they are. So, whenever you're thinking about your characters, think about your will saves, and maybe your fortitude, and just maybe try and make sure that you don't have any crippling weaknesses, or disregard everything I've said in this video and live on the edge. Thanks for watching. I've really been looking forward to getting my hands on the Dark Archive, but until I actually get the Dark Archive, then I hope that you enjoyed the video. Also, keep an eye out on this channel, because once I do get the Dark Archive, I'm going to be streaming my first impressions of the whole book live. God knows how long that stream is going to be. What are your thoughts on how saving throws actually end up working in 2e? I honestly love the improvements that they made. Speaking of someone who traditionally plays martial characters with low will saves, trust me, that sucks. Regardless of that though, until I see you next, live a wonderful life.